Hello, myself Sunil Nair, and here basically we are talking about in last video basically we talked we basically was talking about the attraction object, basically. Attraction of the particular any attraction basically you can say. In the attraction basically we are talking about the person's next generation will go or not go. Earth planet basically will go or not go. Sorry, human generation will go or not go. So here basically we are talking about that each and everything basically you have discussed, right? Earthquake basically get conflict, how basically earthquake gets connect, then basically how the virtual energy basically that is basically the energies basically gets connect with the environment gets conflict, and then basically the real things basically happen. That example basically also I have given. So like this, basically the investment is basically from where the investment starts. Then basically the one of the answer basically given was the best example is that 5 crore people basically 5 crore people caste basically new caste basically has been launched in the Earth planet. In assume that in some country in any country basically in any country basically. So that for that basically World Bank basically has allocated the certain level of money that for this particular caste this many money has been allocated. Reason they are going to create some energy. They are going to create some energy in the Earth planet, and which is going to be used in the universe at the particular time when the Earth planet is going to move to that direction. So for that, this is the requirement basically given by the World Bank, and the World Bank and the banks basically accepted that requirement, and the process basically started because World Bank basically is it's basically have few branch only basically, so they have basically created few banks basically. So for that basically they have to take the help of the banks only, but the each and every controls basically are done by the World Bank only. They only creates the products are equal to cities, products are equal to caste. That 5 crore basically is one product basically for the World Bank and for the banks basically. That is just one single product basically, and the product definition say that description also basically say that this is the description that our planet is going to move to that side. For that purpose basically we have created this particular caste. And one more example basically they have given. One more example basically is that if I say that particular this 5 lakh basically which example I have given, that is basically the birth is allocated for the child in Vadodara city, and 15 lakh basically the birth is going to be created in Ahmedabad city. If that connects this 5 crore, then basically it's going to affect anything basically. As if there's some percentage basically allocation basically which birth allocation basically from percentage 20 percentage basically assume that they basically given to the 5 crore people basically 20 percentage of the 8 crore, sorry, 8 lakh and the 8 9 lakh basically of the Vadodara city and the 15 lakh of the Ahmedabad city. 13 lakh, 15 lakh, basically any number basically. So from that percentage, basically this 5 crore people basically which is going to take birth. After got the birth, basically they are going to do marriage with someone. Basically they are 100% going to do marriage. Then only basically the process is going to start. Then basically in that process, basically this birth basically which is going to that is basically birth human souls. That is going to given basically from that total percentage basically the this 5 crore basically is going to get some birth, or basically the totally new birth is going to happen, new birth souls basically is going to happen. That basically they told that basically if they basically say that basically this is a dynamic human souls and not basically created for specific caste, then basically they can give. Otherwise, they have to create new human souls only basically, which is basically created specifically for this particular caste. So that type of things are also basically mostly basically it's a new caste basically gets creates. Sorry, new human souls only basically gets creates because the universe basically location basically and the data basically very less people basically have. Even the few nuclear power company also basically don't have that data basically. So like this basically things are also basically there. So like this here basically we were discussing that the bank investment basically the banks say that basically we need to do this many investment in this particular city. For that basically we required money basically. So for that basically this 5 crore people basically is going to help the banks basically because we are starting the next generation basically. 5 crore basically is approved by the World Bank, and World Bank has given the approval that their generation will 100% going to start. And in this generation basically you can basically start your generation in very wherever basically the country basically you have been allocated, the country basically which you have been allocated by certain level of groups. So like this the data basically also comes into the market basically. And here the main thing is the each and every energy basically conflict with each other, but the rich people basically energy basically they never conflict with each other. The reason is user id password that basically is created, and that basically it's very long basically long time before only basically it was created. So like this basically things are basically also there. Then basically one person told that um, user and id password basically it's good for basically it's wrong basically. That basically depends upon the situation basically. If any emergency is there basically, then basically you have to break the user ID and password. If any emergency comes, then basically you have to break the user ID and password basically. Because you can't enter the by entering the user ID password. Because when you will going to enter the user ID password in the computer, then basically it's going to do some level of process. Then basically after certain days, basically the user ID and password is uh, going to allow basically, and the allow permission is going to get to that particular computer basically. Then basically whatever process they want to do, then they can do. So like this basically things are basically there. Like this basically things are basically there. So it's not very easy basically. And but investment basically that seems to be easy for the top level management, who basically knows that this 5 crore population basically which has been created by the human souls department, that is basically one certain level of computer basically is handling that 5 crore people. And that 5 crore people basically got some certain level of amount from the World Bank basically, and World Bank has allocated this many amount to the each and every people basically, that is basically the 5 crore people. And the 5 crore people by default basically connects with the banks basically. They have to connect with the banks. Otherwise, basically, if the bank does not, if the money is not too much, then basically there is no need of bank account only basically. So that type of things are also basically there. Then basically the investment group basically told that basically we are going to create the city basically, and that city is basically going to be used for your purpose only basically. For your purpose only basically we are going to use that city, because your all needs basically human needs basically are going to be generated from that digital energy basically, from that digital energy basically. So that digital energy is going to generate your all human needs. So each and every human needs basically of your 5 crore people are basically going to come from that city with the help of the digital roadmap. That is basically the computer's roadmap basically. And these all are the basically software basically who has been allocated, who basically say that we got this 5 crore data, and we are basically responsible for this 5 crore data, which is going to process in environment, and they are going to do some 1500 process basically. After that the process is done by in the earth planet, then basically the data is going to be dumped in the particular level where the particular area in the universe where basically the earth planet is going to move in certain level of time. So earth planet is going to move, that basically it is 100%. That's why basically 5 crore people basically has been launched. That means earth planet is going to move at that location, that is 100% clear from this 5 crore. This information basically very less people knows. That is basically the World Bank and the set level of banks basically. That also basically very less people in the banks basically they know that this person basically which is going, that is a human clone which is basically created by these software companies. So that basically very less people knows that this is a 5 crore people are human clones which basically are going to get the human needs from this all cities basically on the base of the human, on the base of the energy creation process. So like this basically the things are basically not dangerous but very dangerous. So this is also basically one of the part of the human is going to generate, sorry, the attraction basically is going to generate up to what level speed, and which generation is going to be next and which generation is not going to be next. That basically topic we are discussing. And in this basically we just now basically we saw the investment of the banks. Basically they know that basically these 5 crore people basically got the money from the World Bank.